links, then it's a matter of how quickly those links get picked up with new content so that it sees the link pointing to your page that wasn't there before. So that can vary widely. It really depends on where you get those links. And that, I think, in my experience, are the biggest factor that influences how quickly you can expect to change. An example I mentioned before, where the client dropped to the second page, they were able to get back to the first page within a month, and they used content syndication to shore up the weaknesses that they had in off-page factors. Other users have seen a difference as quickly as 2 weeks. Really depends on where your weakness is and where you're getting links and where you're changing content and how frequently the crawlers get to those pages to get the new info. Now, as you might have seen, or you might gather from what I've shown, working with the threat matrix can be a little complicated because you're moving data from one section to another, lining them up, comparing them. The third piece of output that you get from Recon is a flash file that makes that process a lot easier. Now, it's flash and it's interactive, but when I'm doing demos like this, I can't really use it because it interferes with the GoToMeeting interface. So what I'm going to do is actually just show you some screenshots. I'm going to go through quickly what this looks like. So the flash output is putting together a number of pieces of data. This bar chart that we showed, that I showed before, with what the important factors are. The most important factors, the most important 4 on-page factors, the most important off-page factors, this bulleted list, it grabs that. What the ideal range is for each of these, if you can achieve it. And then the competitive ranges. So this is from the Word document. The flash file is going to pull together all this information and give you a visual interface. And it also looks at the specific competitors, so it's from that raw data. So all of that is being pulled in, as well as who your threats, so here's a red one, and who your opportunities are, here's a green one. So those are all the pieces we looked at. You're looking at each of these and pulling pieces together to see what you need to do. And a 3D threat matrix takes all of that into account, and it looks like this. So here's the first screenshot. It gives you a staging area where it's got thumbnail images of all your competitors that you've gathered. And you can scroll back and forth, left and right, to see what these who these competitors are. And what you would do is you would click on one of them. So that would be perhaps your URL. And you get a screen that looks like this. So the one that you clicked on is in the back. And all the other competitors are arranged for you in the foreground. And these are their thumbnails, and they are arranged for you not in order of ranking, but in order of competitive distance. So the competitor that's closest to you will be in this top left-hand corner. And it moves from left to right and from top to bottom. And they're grouped in 15 at a time. So if I were going through and I figured out that these were the guys that were closest to me on this first row here, let's say I was number 28, and I found out here's a guy, and when you mouse over it, it tells you which competitor it is. And this guy was number 5. Well, there's somebody that's an opportunity. They're close to you in competitive distance, but they're ranked higher than you. And what happens is you click on that, and that pulls up a detail for that particular URL. So now this is looking at you and that challenger of yours that is an opportunity that you can overtake. And what 3D threat matrix does is it displays for you here toward the bottom, says to compete against competitor 25, competitor 15 needs, and it tells you exactly what range you need to be in, not overall competitively, but if you want to go head-to-head against this specific competitor. So you don't have to look at the graph and the bar chart and the data grid and put it all together. You just point and click. You click on your URL, you click on a high-ranking opportunity, and then this automatically tells you exactly what you need to do for going head-to-head with that competitor. And there are a couple of different things here you can click, these drafting, plus drafting, minus drafting, question mark, and X drafting. This is how you navigate this interface. So you can add a bunch of competitors in here and figure out exactly what you need to do for those important factors to keep a threatening competitor at bay and overtake an opportunity at the same time by adding them in on what's called a drafting board, and it collects it all for you. So one of them adds a challenger, another one removes a challenger, another link just shows you who's in there so far, and then another link actually clears out the drafting board. So you can look at it as like a test tube, a laboratory. You put yourself in there, and you put any other challengers you want. And the threat matrix is going to calculate for you what the sweet spot is or the overlap to make sure that you can optimize your page or your off-page factors on the most important measurements, and keep in mind who you want to overtake and who you want to stop from overtaking you. And so it's much faster going through this with the 3D threat matrix than if you were to go back and forth with the actual data grid and the charts that are there for you. So that's what that third output does. And there's a file, when you get the 3 tools, you get information about a flash displayer or a player that you can download that's free that will open that up for you. But everything is already gathered. You just open it up and just point and click and use it. So I'm trying to think if there's anything that's an overview that I've left out. You'll probably have questions that I can answer if I've missed anything.
Yeah, Mike, we got a bunch of questions, and it's really cool. What I'll do, can you hear me, Mike?
Yep, I got.
Okay, good deal. I wanted to make sure I got my audio on. This one's going back to SEO Scout, and it was basically a question asked in SEO Scout, can you save that information into another file such as Excel? I know the answer, but I'll let you answer it, Mike.
Yeah, you can save the information, and it actually puts it in a text file that lists all the supporting terms and indicates which ones you're missing, and gives you the score as well if you put a URL in there. And that's something that's good enough for you to pass off to maybe a copywriter so they can know which words they need to include.
And we have a number of questions on this, but it's probably more toward me, asking if this webinar is being recorded. Yes, it is going to be recorded. It's going to take me a couple days to render it. Once I do render the video and get it all uploaded, we hope to have it online by Thanksgiving, so you can eat your Thanksgiving dinner and listen to Michael again. That's my goal, is to have it online by Thanksgiving. Got a number of questions here, and also it'll be up on our blog. So it'll be on our blog, SEOtrainingsw.com. And just go to the blog area, and you'll find Mike's article about tonight's presentation. Also see this video. I got a number of questions from Bill Parliament. Bill's out in Philly. One question here is SEO matrix. What does the keyword prominence and proximity mean?
Yes, good questions. The proximity measures 2 things. It's looking at, in general, a multiple term key phrase like Articane Dental or iPad apps, and what it does is it measures how close those terms from that key phrase appear next to each other. It also looks at how evenly distributed throughout the copy the key phrase appears, so top, middle, and bottom, and it gives you that score. The higher the score, the better. So if you've got a low score, in general, the way to increase it is to make sure that you have that key phrase appearing in more sections of your copy. It's not keyword density, but it's just where it's placed throughout the copy.
Okay.
The other one was prominence.
Okay. Yeah, prominence.
Prominence actually is not something that I measure here. You do see it in Scout here. I measure it here just for reference. And prominence is just how early a key phrase appears. So for a body tag, for the body, this is the number of characters. It shows how early the first occurrence of your key phrase is. In general, in any type of measurement, your body copy, your anchor text, your title tag, the earlier your key phrase appears, the better.
I have a couple questions from Annette, and one question is, what support do you get if you sign up for your program, Mike?
Me.
You. Yeah, and he's so true. Mike, there's every once in a while something crashes on my computer or something, and I call Mike up, and he's always available. And so, Mike, thank you very much, because for myself, because we do a lot of work with our clients, and Mike's always been there, and he's been able to come in, use and go to webinar if there's something we can't figure out over the phone. So yeah, you do get support. You get support from Mike, and he's there. He's really able to help you out and get this thing working for you. This is a question from Stephen. Any plans for doing a program similar to this for local search? I know I've asked this question for him to you before, but he keeps on hammering me, and he's asked me again tonight.
That's right. Yes, there are plans.
There are plans. Okay.
I'm working on some other things now, but I'm not just saying that I will do it sometime in the future. When I say there are plans, I actually do have the plans.
Okay.
It's just a matter of me setting aside the time to implement it so that you can make use of it.
Okay. I have a question from Bill Garcia here. Where is a good place to get an explanation of the on-page and off-page factors and what they mean?
Well, the best place is actually in the Word document. You scroll down here. At the end of the output of each Word document, you've got a nice little glossary right here of what they mean.
Okay, and one thing I just want to mention, we had a student that was in our, gosh, I want to say it was in our spring class up in Las Vegas, and they've been using this program just for with their clients. And those of you that do SEO for clients, he bought his program, your program, Mike, and he's paid back for it countless times, because he charges, in the neighborhoods of $2,500 just to, have one of these reports ready for one of his clients. And that's all he does is, take your report, give it to the client, explain it to the client, and then if they want anything further than the report, then it's additional charge. But just your report here, Mike, what you're showing to the audience tonight, he's charging $2,500. So it's a really great investment for those of you that have clients. And, I don't know any place else other than your program, Mike, where you can get this intelligence. And so, it's really valuable intel and a lot of great information. And that has another question here. Mike, does this have a plugin for WordPress?
A plugin for WordPress? No, it doesn't. I'd be interested in what you would want a plugin to do, because if it sounded reasonable, I could write one.
Okay.
I've written WordPress plugins before.
Okay, and that Annette has my email address. I'll ask her to email me, and I'll forward that to you, Mike, or after this call, I could get Annette's contact information to you on that.
Okay.
This is a question from Bill Parliament again, and I see a couple other students asking the same question. On for outbound links on a page, you have the number 104.